I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're talking to a terrific author by the name of Sarah Whitten-Grigsby, and she has penned a book that unfortunately most of us will need from one time or another in our lives. It's about the staggering loss of your dog, some ways to get through it. It's written by Sarah, who is an interfaith reverend specializing in animal ministry, and she shares invaluable insights on coping with the heart-wrenching grief of losing a beloved pet. We will discover practical strategies and emotional support to navigate through this challenging time. We're delighted to have this talented author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Sarah, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Great to be here. Thank you, Logan.
It's so nice that you're an interfaith reverend specializing in animal ministry because animals truly are God's greatest gifts. So the importance to people's lives can't be overestimated, really.
I believe that to be true. I think of them as divine creatures, and not just because I'm a reverend, but
Yeah.
I think they bring us everything. And I also feel if given the chance, they will stay with us through last breath, and we owe them the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I lost my beautiful, had a little black puppy that never grew beyond the puppy stage. His name was Shadow. He was a hunt terrier, and he just got sick about a year and a half ago, and could barely move at points. Woke up in the morning one day, and I thought he was gone. I woke him up, and all of his strength, he stood up and he walked into my bedroom to see my wife so she could comfort him one last time.
Mm.
Just amazing. It's just amazing the grace that we see in animals, right?
It is absolutely. There's a
Yeah.
connection there that I feel I wish everybody could experience. And
Yeah.
those of us who have experienced it and continue to treasure it, it's a two-way healing street.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just one of my favorite things at night is just to hold my puppy. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I'll lay on the couch and hold my dog, and
Yeah.
it's such a great thing for sure. And for me, getting over the loss of Shadow was to get another puppy, the same breed from the same breeder, actually the
Mhm.
same bloodlines even. So
Wow.
I kind of have like a replacement Shadow. This one's black and white, not all black, and a beautiful dog as well. But do you think that's a good strategy when it's
I
time to get
do.
another dog?
I do, absolutely. I mean, needless to say, the need for homes for dogs is bottomless.
Yeah,
So whenever we can get a dog, that's a positive thing. It makes the world a better place, I feel. And
yeah.
I think we know when we lose a dog, we know intuitively whether the time is now to get another one or whether we need to wait.
Hmm.
And some people feel they can't go through it again. And
Right.
then I have volunteers who go through it over and over and over because they take hospice dogs for
Mm,
my little foundation. So they are very versed, I like to say, versed in the art of grief,
mm.
but they're also versed in the art of caring for dogs at the end of life.
So tell us a little bit about your foundation. It helps care for dogs that are end of life, and I guess their owners cannot care for them any longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are different circumstances under which they are abandoned or surrendered. Sometimes an owner might have died and the dog is found wandering. And sometimes there's too much expense involved in taking care of the dog. And so the dog is surrendered to a shelter. And
Right.
so I have a very small foundation called One More Day. And we place homeless hospice dogs in loving forever homes and help to sponsor their medical where it's needed. So, in other words, we don't like to invade the dogs with a lot of with any kind of surgery or kind of life prolonging um, measures. These are dogs who have a life limiting illness or untreatable illness, and it's not going to get better,
Right.
but it might be slow growing. And they may have some wonderful time still to enjoy. And either the sometimes the shelter vet will reach out and say, I don't feel this dog should be euthanized yet. Can you place this dog?
Yeah.
And sometimes we have a dog who we think has very little time, and we place that dog, and he or she comes back to life and lives for a
Right.
couple of years in a loving
Yeah.
home. So
It's
that's what we do.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Dogs can crash very quickly and they can
Hmm.
bounce back. I had a dog that I thought was close to being put down that had congestive heart failure.
Yep, I know all about
And
that.
he was constantly coughing,
Hmm.
coughing, coughing. I actually bought one of those premium dog foods that you see on TV where they give you real meat and real vegetables.
Yep.
And it was a complete game changer. Like his cough stopped and he was better. I mean, he still coughs a little, but he's better. So that was 2 years ago. And this dog who's 14, 15 years old is still alive because
Good,
of some
good.
TLC.
Yeah,
So
definitely,
yeah, it's
definitely.
amazing. It's amazing. Some little changes can make a big change. Well, your organization sounds terrific, and you're definitely doing God's work in helping animals at their end of life. Tell us some strategies that people can deal with when they do lose their dog.
So I think what's difficult is, there are dogs and there are humans.
Hmm.
And we separate them in our minds sometimes.
Right.
And we forget that we're all sentient beings.
Yep.
We may be different in some ways, but we are so much alike in other ways. I mean, I think it's been proven that dogs feel depression and sadness and all those things. But sometimes when we lose a dog, the grief is so profound, it almost feels harder than losing a human. It can feel harder than losing a human. And I wouldn't say that it is, just that sometimes it feels that way. And when I lost my first dog, which was some years ago now, I thought I was going mad. I was so grief stricken. I really had that feeling, I can't live without this
I
dog
know.
because
I know.
I know,
Yeah.
I know you know.
Yeah.
They are our children, and not to
Yeah.
compare them to human children, but they rely on us for everything. So they
Yeah. They're
are
pure
our children.
innocence. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember being up one terrible night after this dog had been diagnosed with lymphoma and thinking I'm going mad. I've got to get some perspective here. And I was looking online and I found a wonderful article that said, yes, yes, it can often feel harder than losing a human.
Yeah.
It basically said, you're not crazy. A lot of people feel this way. And it was talking about dogs as our life witnesses, how
Mm.
they are with us sometimes more than anybody. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes they're with us more than our spouses, depending on
Yeah.
how our lives are, what our lives
Exactly. Exactly.
are. And
Yeah.
so the grief is staggering. And the first thing that I want to let people know in the book is that you are not alone. The grief can be very isolating, but there are so many of us who understand this particular grief. And one of the ways through it is just to know that. And then there are ways that I talk about, very practical guideposts, such as, going through the whole euthanasia experience, which
Yeah.
is enormously
Very difficult.
difficult,
Yeah.
and also how to memorialize, how to, keep memories beloved and near you, and to remember all the good things. And some of it will be things that people may have thought of before, and some of it is hopefully things people go, oh, well, that's comforting. But the
Yeah.
first thing is to know that this grief that you feel is not unusual.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. To know that other people feel the same way is somewhat comforting. So, without a doubt, without a doubt, it's amazing how connected we are to dogs. And I think it is because they are innocents. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They are just pure, loving beings, and they add so much joy to our lives. I know for myself, I memorialized my dog. We got like a little headstone engraved for him on Amazon, believe it or not, where they engraved a
Yes.
picture and they
Uh-huh.
carved it into like a piece of marble and we buried him in the backyard and all of
Yeah.
that. So, you know, being reverent at these times of losing a
Mhm.
dog is important as well, right?
It's so important. And, ritual is important. And sometimes I think when you say that, people sort of think oogada boogada, and it's not like that. But
Right.
ritual as in honoring the animal in whatever way feels good to you. When Wessex died, and Wessex was my first canine child and as dearly beloved to me as my own life, if not more so.
Yeah.
He had lymphoma, as I said, and we had 9 weeks with him before he died. And that was a time of anticipatory grief, which I also talk about in the book. But when the day came and he clearly was in so much pain and we wanted to end the suffering, which is the last great gift we can give
Right.
to these beloved animals, I gave him some like a veterinary tranquilizer, so he was
Mhm.
very calm.
Yeah.
And we put candles in his dog bowl, and
Mm.
we played ocean sounds. And
Oh,
it was so peaceful. We had in-home euthanasia, which we try to do.
right.
It can be very expensive, and I don't recommend it for everybody. But if you can do it, and if it feels right to you, then it's a very good thing to do. So we had
Absolutely.
in-home euthanasia, and it was us with our hands on him, telling him what a good boy he had been and how much we loved him. And it was so peaceful, his passage to that next wonderful place.
Yeah. The Rainbow Bridge, as a lot of my dog friends call it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Very,
Yeah.
very sweet. Before we leave you today, I just want to let the folks at home know how they can find out more about One More Day and how they might be able
Yes.
to help with your work. Is there a
Yes.
website or something where they can look
Absolutely.
it
There
up?
is a website. It's onemooredayfoundation.com.
Hmm.
It's all spelled out. And they can read about me there, and they can email me. The email address is on the bottom of the website. I love answering questions,
Great.
and I get a lot of wonderful questions and people I don't know who reach out and donate and thank me for the work. And it's very, very rewarding.
It's great. Well, you're doing God's work, as I said earlier. Sarah has written a powerful book that is a must-have if you have a dog, because sooner or later, unfortunately, we will lose them. The name of the book is The Staggering Loss of Your Dog: Some Ways to Get Through. It's a hopeful book, it's a helpful book, and it's a book that'll let you realize you are not alone if you're really, really heartbroken over the loss of your pet. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Logan.
I appreciate your time. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.